Here's the thing, guys. We get into sales to take complete control over our income, to get paid in massive proportion to the work that we put in based on our performance. Here's the problem. Most closers have zero idea how to properly control a sales conversation, hold the frame, hold the authority, and because of that, they have no control over their income. Okay, I've been training this stuff for years, guys. We got Francesco right there in the back. We got Michael in the corner, just closed a $5,000 deal using this strategy. And we've helped, honestly, at this point, dozens of closers do the exact same thing and hit their first six-figure years in commissions. In this video, this is gonna be an hour-long training that I did with my team. This is leaked from our training program. Definitely a little bit of a longer one, but it's gonna be packed with value. Get a pen and paper out, make it through the full thing, apply it to your sales calls, and I will see you at the top of the leaderboard. Let's dive in. Okay, let me tell you guys how I kind of got to this, and then I'll tell you like my personal thought process, and then I'll get into the tactical. For those 2 years that I mentioned, right, of me, figuring out this whole authority thing, like this is me, fucking 19-year-old with like, low self-confidence, all that shit, right? Just trying to like make it through sales, right? I'm trying to grind, I'm trying to get better, I'm trying to personally develop, but like this is me 19 years old, like fresh out of school, like trying to hop on calls and close $5,000 deals, right? With like, with the lay down sales, yeah, I would close them, right? With people who show up who are gonna buy anyways, like, yeah, as long as you just don't mess up the call, you're gonna close those deals, right? Anybody can close those. The difference between a salesperson and a closer is your ability to turn a no into a yes, right? It's your ability to actually like influence another human being to act, right? Because of you. So what that means is dealing with like difficult prospects, right? I had a belief for a long time that, okay, if I like call somebody up and they, are a difficult prospect, they weren't going to buy anyways. That's what I would think. Like I had this belief that I wasn't able to actually like influence people to move and buy. If someone showed up to the call just seeking information, I had a belief that I wasn't able to turn them from seeking information to buy. I would say, okay, they just have this mindset of seeking information. That can't change, right? If someone shows up to the call ready to buy, I would close them, right? I had this limiting belief that held me back for a long time. The reason why was because I didn't know how to deal with more difficult prospects, right? For example, someone who's, a higher confidence person, someone with a bigger ego, someone who had seen some type of success in their life, right? I had a hard time closing these people, right? And what would happen is like I'd be on calls and like I would ask people like, hey, so like, once you're able to build this business and you hit your goal of making, 15 grand a month with it, like how would that change things for you? It wouldn't really change much. Like, it'd be nice to be extra money. It'd be cool. Maybe I can take a couple extra trips every year. I can do it. Right? And I'd be like, why though? Well, yeah, who doesn't want to make more money? And I'd be like, oh shit, okay, I guess that's a good point. Right? And then I want to move on. And I'd be like, hey, so like what's been stopping you from getting started already? And they're like, oh, nothing. Like it just hasn't really been a priority. Like I just found out about this last week. Nothing's been stopping me. Right? And I'm like, okay, cool, nothing's been stopping him. Right? We get to, commitments. I'm like, hey man, listen, like building this business, it's not going to be easy. Like, it's going to be something where you're going to have to commit hours every single day working on this. Like, are you at a place where you can do that? Yep, no problem. Yeah, that should be fine. Right? And then you get to the end and then you pitch and then, okay, cool. Yeah, sounds good. Just, insert smokescreen objection. Right? And then you don't close and then you're like, what the hell happened? Right? And then like, this is me, like I'm putting in, like I just dropped out of school, I'm seeing everyone else out closing me on the leaderboard, right? I'm on these calls, like I'm trying really hard, I'm going hard, I'm high energy, high enthusiasm, all of that, but like I just couldn't close these kinds of people, right? And it's very frustrating when you're putting like your full energy and effort into a call, and then your prospect is just like, yeah, I'm just gonna think about it, I'll let you know. Right? Like that's the worst. That actually like will drive you crazy. And it used to piss me off a lot. What I did with those kinds of prospects after a certain point, and how I, just started picking up on like this frame stuff, was like I just stopped giving a fuck. Like I literally just stopped giving a fuck, and I came from a place of pure laziness, like in the beginning, where it was literally just me hopping on these calls. Like I would already see it, right? Where it's like, yeah, so like, hey, why is this important to you? Yeah, like it's just some extra cash. It would be nice to have that. It's like I already know exactly what's happening. Like I already know exactly what kind of objection I'm gonna get from that prospect. Where is the except I lost the here we go. I already know exactly what objection I'm gonna get from this prospect. Right? So all of a sudden what I start doing is like out of laziness, I start disqualifying people. And it's like, okay, great, you want some extra money, but like, is that it? Like, is that the only reason why this is important to you? Like there's nothing else that really matters to you for you to go and build this business? Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I guess it would give me a little bit of extra freedom and a little bit of extra time. Right? And then it's, okay, well, can I be real with you here for a second? Like, from what I've seen, like this business is going to be super hard. You're going to have to make sacrifices to, show up and work on it every day. It's going to require that you run into problems and you find solutions day after day after day after day. You have a family, you have a job, you have other, commitments right now. If there isn't something that, really lights you up and gets you excited about building this business, then maybe you shouldn't build it. Right? And then all of a sudden, it's like people start opening up. People start telling me the real shit. Right? When I get into challenge and it's hey, so like what's been holding you back from doing this? Oh, well, nothing's been holding me back. I just found out about this like a week ago. Right? And I'm like, okay, sure, but like when you say like you want to create more freedom in your life and you want to move away from that 9 to 5, like how long have you been thinking of doing that? Oh yeah, well, like that's been on my mind for the last couple of years, right? Okay, so in these last couple of years, this has been important to you, but you haven't been able to change it. What's going to change now? Like if in the last few years you haven't figured out how to make this a priority, why is it going to be a priority now? Right? Like sell me, convince me, because I already hear your objection coming a mile away. Right? What's actually changing now? Like, if it wasn't a priority for the last couple of years, then at the end of this call, it's just going to be like, yeah, it's just, I'm just going to think about it, sit on it, ponder it. Urgency isn't really there. I'll let you know. Right? I flip the approach. All of a sudden, people start opening up and telling me what's real. Right? When I'm in gaining commitments, right? And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to need you to set aside at the least 2 to 3 hours every single day to work on this business. Can you do that? Yep, no problem. Okay, sure. I just wanna emphasize that really quickly, because you say sure, no problem. 2 to 3 hours a day is going to be a big commitment, right? You have your work, you have your family, you have your other commitments in your life. Sitting down and finding 20, 30, 40 hours a week to work on this business isn't going to be easy. And that's really what it's going to take for you to be able to get your business to 10 grand a month by the end of this year. Like, are you actually at a place where you see yourself committing to that? Like, I'm asking the question because I'm trying to get them to tell me, like, no, I can't do it, right? But then all of a sudden, it creates the urgency. It creates the frame that I need for me to go and close that deal, right? So basically, guys, the big point and really the big conclusion here, based on all of these examples, is, on your calls, you should be coming from a place, like your internal mindset needs to be like, not I need to close this person, not I need to try super hard to sell this person. Your internal mindset needs to be, okay, before I offer this person anything, I need to be 100% certain that they can see results with my thing. If not, I'm gonna point them in the right direction, right? So like the agenda that we give on our calls, right? Like you need to own that 1,000,000%. Right? You can translate that, by the way. If I'm not 100% certain that I can help this person see results, I'm going to point them in the right direction. You can translate that to, if I'm not 100% certain that I'm going to close this deal, I'm not going to pitch them. Right? But then that sets the wrong frame. But it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. If you're 100% certain that you can help somebody see results, then you're going to offer the program and they should be buying. right? If you're not 100% certain, like if you're like, like I don't know, like this person has like a limiting belief, and this person like they're kind of iffy on the time commitment, and they're super like skeptical and weird, like either one of two things: you're either disqualifying the lead, or you're solving that limiting belief. Right? So you need to be 100% certain that you can help somebody see results. That's the mind state that you need to be in when you're on your calls, right? High intention, low attachment. Where really what that means, high intention, low attachment, is, you have the highest intention for your prospect, like you want to see them win like nothing else, but you're not attached to the sale at all. You couldn't care less if the deal closes or not. Therefore, you are willing to call them out on limiting beliefs. You're willing to be real with them, be raw with them, and potentially cause some confrontation and some tension, because like you don't care less if a deal goes through or not. You're just going to tell this person how it is. You're going to tell this person what limiting beliefs that they're experiencing, or what limiting beliefs are holding them back. And you're just going to tell them that based out of like for their benefit, because you don't care one way or another about the sale. This is the mind frame that's going to get you the most sales, right? Cool. You guys following me? Beautiful. Yeah, like I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. I really do, because like this is like years of it's funny now, but like this is like years of just like fucking frustration and bullshit. And like my prospects, like most salespeople will just bend over for their prospects all day, every day, and it's like you literally just lose self-respect, and you don't make any money, So that's where everything that I'm about to share with you guys is going to come in, right? So we kind of talked like broader concept. It took a little bit of time to write down a few notes of like exact tactical how to take authority, and two, how to actually keep it, okay? Because it's something that needs to be maintained through the entire conversation, all right? First things first, step one, taking authority. Okay, this is early conversation. This is like intro agenda. A lot of people start out their calls and they instantly shoot themselves in the foot and just lose complete respect and authority in the first 30 seconds, right? Phrases such as, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Hey, I'm so excited to chat today, right? Like, okay, yeah, like you might be a friendly person, but like, are you actually excited to talk to someone? Like, no, like you're just taking another sales call, But for some reason, people think that me hopping on the call and saying, "Oh, I'm so excited for our meeting today. I read through your application. I can't wait to get down to business." Like, that's BS, right? You're not actually that excited. They're not that excited, or at least they're not excited to talk to you. They might be excited to make a change, but instantly it's just inauthentic. Throws people off. Throws me off when someone says that stuff like, "Oh, like so where are you based out of?" Right? I don't give a fuck where you're based out of. You don't care about telling me where you're based out of. Nobody really cares, right? Unless like, I don't know, there's like a one-off situation, right? Somebody like lives in some crazy country and you see their area code and you make a comment about it. But like, for the most part, nobody cares. It's just like one of those forced icebreakers that people have because they think that that's going to break the ice, right? Or like, it's like the typical like office small talk of like, "Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you?" It's the most meaningless thing in the world, but it's like we just need to acknowledge that, we both see each other, because if we don't, then it's awkward. Like it's so weird, it's just a weird thing that people do. So just like cut out all of the inauthentic stuff. Like if it doesn't feel real to you, like don't do it. A lot of people just add in extra stuff, which is just like random. Yeah, Ryan, you have a pressing question?
Yeah, so that's usually what I do. Like if they say like if it's like nighttime over there and it's daytime over here, I'm like, okay, where are you from, right? I mean, what other like small talk, ideas instead of that,
Okay, listen, I'm not saying like never say that, because I still say it sometimes on my calls, right? I'm more talking about like, if you feel the need to try to break the ice, like, don't. You know, like try less is kind of like a big theme in everything that I'm talking about. Like, don't try, right? It's kind of like, and this is a really micro example, and guys, I have a bunch of points that I want to go through. So unless the question is like super pressing and like your brain, you just can't let it go, let's try to save them for the end. Just don't try, right? It's kind of like if you're texting a girl and like you send her like paragraphs, right? You might really feel those feelings in your heart and you might really want to send her paragraphs, but instantly that's just going to throw off your frame. You're going to seem desperate and weird, and the girl's going to get turned off, right? As opposed to a lot of the times, like saying less is going to be much more. You know, it's kind of the same idea here in your intro, right? So just don't try to build a relationship, right? If you're in a great mood, right? And I'm in a great mood, you know, most of the day, every day, and I've, you know, gotten my shit down so that I am in a good state of mind, because that's my profession, is sales and talking to people and influence, and I need to be in a good state of mind to do my job at a high level. If I'm in a good state of mind, I'll be like, yo, Kieran, what's up, my man? How you doing? Man, I'm just rocking and rolling through the day, living the dream over here. What's happening in your world, brother? You know, like, because I'm authentically in this state. If I'm like, you know, not in that mood, I'm not going to force it, right? Where it's like, I'll be like, hey, Kieran, hey, Kieran, what's going on? Misha here with XYZ Company. How you doing today? Great. Cool. So, Kieran, what I'd like to do here on this call, and then I'm just getting into it. No nonsense, no bullshit. The moment that you try to do like a lot of this weird, like breaking the ice stuff, instantly people just get weirded out by it. You know, people can kind of see through it, and then they're like, oh, this person is like trying to make a connection with me. Why is he trying to be my friend? What does he want from me? Right? That's instantly where that goes to, right? So in your intro and in your agenda, right? High energy, high enthusiasm, right? Keep that up. But really the key is like, don't be overly polite, right? Don't feel the need to be overly polite. That's just going to work against you, okay? In your agenda, right? And engage kind of where your prospect is at, but you really do need to take authority with the way that you hit your agenda. Probably the best and like the easiest way for you guys to do this is just go through your agenda very slowly. Like just put it to like 0.5x of what you usually do if you want to take a little bit of extra authority, right? So instead of, hey, Ali, what I want to do here on this call is just ask you a couple questions, get to know more about you and what you have going on. And if I feel like I can help you, I'll show you how. And if not, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. That sound good? Right? Instead of that, it's, hey, so Ali, what I'd like to do here on this call, just want to start out with a couple questions. I want to better understand you and really your goals with all of this. And if I feel like I can help you out, awesome. I'll show you exactly how. And if not, no hard feelings. I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. That sound good? Right? It's just, I'm in complete control now, right? Because I'm going at my pace. I'm going as slow as I want. And a lot of the times when I have a prospect show up to a call who's like trying to alpha me, you know, like they're like, yeah, I saw something yesterday, looked kind of interesting. You know, I'll be honest, I've seen a bunch of stuff online and I don't know if this stuff is even real, but like, I just thought I'd give you a call and see what's up. So like, tell me about your program, right? Let's say someone starts out a call like that, right? I'll be like, hey, sure, man. Love that. Why don't we take like 1 or 2 steps back here? Is that cool with you? Great. Thanks, man. What I'd like to do here on the call first, before we get into any of that stuff, I just want to ask you a couple questions, right? So I will intentionally slow down my agenda to take control of the call, let my prospect know, hey, I'm going to be leading this conversation. There's a couple things that I need to do here to see if I can even help you. And if I can, I'll show you how, right? Most closers just hit that agenda and they don't actually mean what they're saying. Like they just say it because their fucking sales coach told them to say it. What I'm telling you guys is to actually mean your agenda, right? There is no way that you tell anybody about your program unless you are 100% certain that you can help them see results, right? You're going to tell them about your program on your time. You're the expert. You've been talking about your program every single day. You've been talking to people with this unique problem every single day. You have their solution. You're going to let them know about their solution on your timing, not on anybody else's, okay? So yeah, just don't be overly polite. Don't try to build a relationship. Don't try to break the ice. Just be authentic and just take your time with that agenda. You do all that right, you're going to set a really good, or you're going to take control of the call. Okay. First part makes sense? Great. Now, how do we keep it? Taking it is a lot easier than keeping it. Keeping it is going to take a little bit more finesse. Okay. First off, just quickly, just to preface it, we talk about it all the time. But bottom line, the way that you want to see yourself is as like you want to hold yourself in the doctor frame, right? Your prospects are walking into your office, right? They've scheduled a time and they're asking for your guidance. They're asking for your help. They have a problem and you have the solution, right? When you walk into a doctor's office, like you shut the fuck up and you listen, right? If your doctor asks you a question, you give them an answer. They might take down notes for 2 minutes and you're just going to sit there quiet, just waiting for their next question because you know that you have a problem and you know that this person can help you, right? So you really want to see yourself as that doctor figure, right? You want to see yourself as that expert figure. And if you don't feel like an expert figure, if you don't have that self-identity, okay, great. Like that's something you need to work on, right? That self-confidence, belief in yourself. We're not going to get into any of that on this call, but that's something that needs to be improved, right? Self-confidence, maybe you need to learn more about what you're doing, right? Maybe you need to learn more about your offer and go do some extra research, right? So that you actually are an expert and you're not just, talking shit out of your ass, Doctor frame, okay? Every question that we ask, right? Situational, for example, right? Goal in situational is to do a couple things. One is learn more about our prospect, right? What's going on in their life? What's happening? Two, figure out, okay, like what are some of their pains? What are their problems? What are they experiencing right now, right? Why do we need all of this information? Like every step of the 10-step framework, there's 2 reasons for every question that we ask. Okay, and most people just focus on the one reason. There's 2 reasons why, like, we're looking for a pain point, for example, right? Why do we look for a pain point? Like, basics, fundamentals. Why do we look for pain points on sales calls?
Because pain motivates more than pleasure.
Right, and like pain to get them to do what?
To move forward.
Change.
Yeah, to change, move forward, or in other words, to buy our shit, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to close deals. We're all here to make money. Every single one of you on this call, you guys are here middle of the day on a Tuesday. You stopped everything that you're doing because maybe one, you really like this, you're passionate about it, it's a fun mission and journey. But like at the end of the day, it comes down to making money, right? We're trying to close deals. We're trying to get paid. We're trying to go live the lifestyles that we want to live, right? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. However, if your prospect gets that sense, you're losing the sale. You lose the frame, right? Again, if they sense that there is something that they want from you, if they sense that there's something that you want from them, then yeah, you lose the frame, you lose trust, it doesn't go well, right? So again, back to the whole thing, when we spoke about it, I want to be 100% confident that my prospect is going to succeed in my program. Like that's the mind state that I'm in on every single one of my calls, right? Yeah, I want to close the deal, 100%, but on the call, I couldn't care less about the money. Like I've trained myself, when I'm on a sales call, I completely forget about the money. I couldn't care less about it. I'm focused 100% on my prospect's success, right? And that's the same way that you want to think about it. The other reason why we're looking for pain points is because think about it, don't think about it from a selfish way, right? Because from a selfish way is I need to find my prospect's pain point for them to buy my shit, right? On the flip side, there's, hey, I need to ask my prospect about their pain so that they better understand their pain and they can then go on and change it, right? From a place of, I want to help you, right? You're coming from a place of giving rather than taking, right? And this is going to be a really important theme for the entire sales call, right? Is understanding every question that you ask. Are you asking it because it's going to help you close the deal? Or are you asking it because it's going to help your prospect go and see the result that they want to see, right? Like asking your prospect the consequential question, for example, right? Hey, let me ask you, like, well, what happens if nothing changes here? Like, what happens if you don't figure out a way to make money online? Like, what would happen then, right? Most people, they're asking that question because they're trying to prevent objections and they're trying to close, right? Or on the flip side, are you asking that coming from a place of, you know, hey, like I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you realize that, you know, if you don't stop or if you don't change something, you're just going to be stuck experiencing this pain forever, right? To have, or to, and this is where empathy comes in, right? Like if you guys want to be high level fucking closers, you have to be very empathetic, right? Like to an extreme. Like you have to be able to put yourself into other people's shoes and experience emotions like with them, you know? So every question that you ask, right? I'm talking about maintaining authority, right? Especially when you're dealing with like, you know, let's say you're in a B2B situation, right? And you're selling like, I don't know, some type of, anybody in here B2B right now? No? Okay. Sure. Let me just give you an example, right? Even like outside of B2B, because it doesn't really matter. B2B, B2C, similar kind of sales call. Let's say it's more of like you're talking to, you know, a CEO, right? Let's just say. Let's say you're talking to a CEO and you're like, hey, like give me some background on yourself and what you have going on and I'll see if I can help you out, right? Then they're going to be like, yeah, here's what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for from you guys, right? And you're like, okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Dana, we all heard that. Just keep yourself muted, please. Anyways, yeah, if you're dealing with you know, higher level person and you ask like, hey, so like how would that make you feel? How does it make you feel that like you're struggling with this right now? Right? Instantly they're gonna think, okay, this person's trying to sell me something. Right? So you have to come from a place, yeah, for sure. And like the reason why I ask, right, is because some people who struggle with XYZ pain point, like they just kind of put up with it, right? Like it's not really that big of a problem for them. And I'm just trying to see, like, is that you? Is this like a serious problem for you right now, or what's actually going on, right? If I ask a vision-based question and I say, hey, so like, what are your goals here with this business? And they're like, oh, I don't know my goals. This is my first time getting into it, right? I could say, yeah, I'm trying to figure out this person's goals because I want to sell them the vacation, not the plane trip, right? I'm trying to sell them some shit. Or I could say, hey, well, how are we going to help this person get there if we don't know exactly where we're going? Right? Is this concept making sense? You want to understand like why is it, write this down, right? Why is it in your prospect's benefit? Why is it in your prospect's benefit? Just leave it at that, right? For every question, how does them understanding their challenge help them? How does them understanding their pain help them? How does them committing to XYZ hours a day help them in terms of seeing that success, right? When you come from this frame, now you're allowed to be a little bit of an asshole, right? Like now you're allowed to bring in tension. Now you're allowed to like call your prospect out. because you're coming from the place of, hey bro, I'm here to help you change your fucking life. And I know how to do it. I have the solution. But first, I just need to ask you a few questions, right? This frame allows you to do that when you're coming from a place of you're trying to help, right? When your coach wants you to go, get a scholarship for a university the next year, like he's going to be overly hard on you and he's going to piss you off because he's trying to get you that scholarship and he's trying to push you, right? It's the exact same thing on your sales calls. So really get grounded in that intention, and then you can do whatever you need to do. Okay. For example, your prospect asks you that, like, mid conversation, they're asking you a bunch of questions, right? They're like, oh, how does this work? How does that work? Oh, what's the success rate of your program? What's this? What's that? Mid 10 steps, right? It's like, okay, that's fine. Like, valid questions. But at the end of the day, like, it's in your benefit to go through my 10-step framework, right? I need to understand where we're trying to go in depth for me to help you. I need to understand your challenge. I need to understand multiple things before we even get to any of your questions, right? But I know that it's going to help you. So now we can take back control, right? Big thing, whenever we're, prospect mid-conversation, and this is another major point, whenever you're getting questions mid-call, you respond to them, and then you have to get back into it, right? Like, I see this so often. It's crazy, where you might have a prospect who's like eager, right? Again, they're fast-paced, like they're excited, like they're trying to learn more about what you have going on, right? And then at the end of the call, you get some smoke screen, right? Because they weren't actually, sold. They weren't actually, excited to move forward, right? Because they didn't perceive you as an expert, because they didn't perceive you as a leader. It's exactly what happened. Expert, leader, all of that, they hop on a call with an intention, and they're not going to let anybody like sway them from that, right? What I see so often salespeople do is, like, someone will have questions mid-conversations. Oh, so like, how does this work? Right? Oh yeah, so like, here's how it works and this is what's up and blah, blah, blah. Oh, and like the really cool thing is that it does this, right? Oh, okay, cool. So like, how does that work? Right? Oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay, nice. And like, how long does it, right? Like, your prospect starts asking a bunch of questions like this, and then now you lose all control of the call, right? Whoever's asking the questions really is in control. So it's fine if your prospect is asking you questions, and I'm not saying don't answer them, but if someone says, oh, so like, what makes you guys any different than anybody else, right? Mac, I think you were asking me this on our call the other day, right?
Correct.
Yeah, sure.
It was a genuine question too, but
for sure, totally valid. And like, what did I tell you?
You literally just said, honestly, I couldn't tell you.
I could tell you
something like that.
Mac, I can go on for the next 2 hours about what makes us different than everybody else, but that's not valuable to the conversation, right? That, like, I don't want to spend any time talking about that. I want to spend time about you. I want to spend time about your goals and where you're trying to get to. I want to spend time talking about, what kind of work it's going to take to help you see the result. Like, I want to spend time understanding what exactly you're looking for. That's what I want to spend time talking about for your benefit, right? So like, getting into all of that stuff doesn't help either of us, right? So it's like, hey, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure there's a couple things that might set us apart. But like, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be able to tell you, man. I'd say go with your own judgment. But let me ask you this, like, when you ask me that question, I'm assuming you asked because you're coming from a place of like, bottom line, you don't care who you work with, you just care, are you going to get the result that you want, right? Okay, great. So walk me through that. Like, where exactly do you want to be here with the business 6 to 12 months from now? What does that look like for you? Right? So it's always deflect and then ask another question, right? To maintain control of a conversation, right? Where it's not, we're not ignoring the question, right? We're not like just throwing it to the side, but it's deflect and then get back to where you want to move the conversation.
Misha, can you, because that was something that I run into a lot. Can you just, because I'm writing it down, can you just repeat it one more time? Because you said What makes you different? Couldn't tell you, man. Let me ask you something, and then you were saying something.
Yeah, well, like you can it's something like and like, by the way, like I know all of the things that makes us great. I don't know what makes other people bad. I don't work in their business every single day. I work in my business every single day, right? So I might say honestly, Ali, I mean, like, you would probably know better than me because you're probably checking out some of these guys. Um, Bottom line though, right? When you say that, what you're focused on is you don't care who you work with. You want to know, are you going to see the result that you want, right? Great. So what exactly are we working towards? Like, what's the North Star? What's the target that we're trying to get to? Right? Something like this. That could have been executed better on my end just now, but something along these lines. Right? Honestly, not sure, man. Couldn't tell you. I think at the end of the day, what matters is getting you to where you're trying to get to. Right? Right. Cool. Let me ask you where you're trying to get to. Right? Someone says, "Hey, what's another example of like a question that someone might just like throw in mid conversation?"
One that I threw in was like, what is the like success rate of other people who've gone through the program?
Was that like mid conversation,
Something.
or was that after?
I feel like it was more, I guess, more towards the end probably. But that's like something that I would throw in potentially.
Okay, sure. Let's
Like,
say like someone mid call, because that definitely happens. Hey, for sure, man. That's a great question. And at the end of the day, honestly, man, it comes down to you, right? Like, it's not a roll of the dice. It's going to come down to the inputs and the effort that you put in. To be honest, like, I think the only reason, like, from what I've heard from you so far in this conversation, based on what you're telling me, I think you'll crush it. From what I'm hearing, the only reason why it wouldn't work out is like that job that you mentioned that's crazy busy, is if that gets in the way here and you're not able to set aside adequate time for this, right? Let me ask you, man, because it's not going to be easy, right? Like, balancing a 10-hour a day work schedule, like, how are you going to find the time to really commit to this, to make sure that this works, right? So throwing it back around, right? Any other examples? Mike, you have one?
Like when somebody says on the call that just tell me what you have, like in the middle of the conversation, when you have done situational, you have done vision, and then they say, just tell me like what do you have, like how are you gonna help me, like how you answer that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And to be honest, Parneet, I'm not 100% sure if I can help you as of right now, at least. Is it cool with you if I just kind of go through a couple more questions here, just so I can see what we can do?
Okay. So I can say the same thing after getting their situation and going through their vision, painting the picture. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just at the end of the day, you see how it's deflect, ask another question. Right? Like, I could say, yeah, and to be honest with you, like, I'm not totally sure if we can help you yet. And then if I just stop, will you say, well, why not? Well, yeah, because I just don't have a full understanding of where you're at. And then now you have other questions, right? And then now you have control of the conversation. So there's a little bit of like finesse to this, right? But like, rule of thumb, whenever someone asks you a question, you always want to answer it with another question, right? Respond to their question, deflect it if you need to, and then take back control, ask another question there. All right. And again, the whole fact that your prospect has reached out to you, they're asking you for help, and you have the solution, instantly gives you authority, instantly gives you doctor frame, right? So you can either maintain it or you can lose it, right? And a lot of people lose it by letting their prospect ask them a million questions, right? Cool. Okay, number 3. So, okay, we spoke about taking authority. We spoke about keeping authority, right? So just to kind of recap everything that I just went on a rant about. Number one, yeah, doctor frame, right? Having that frame and seeing yourself, like having the identity as someone who leads the call is the expert, right? Two, what gives you that authority, by the way? Because I don't think everybody deserves authority. Like if you're a piece of shit and you have weird intentions and like you're just like power hungry and you're just like power tripping, because a lot of people do that too. A lot of salespeople get their ego wrapped up in the call, and then they just like power trip about stuff like this. That's just totally not productive and doesn't help anybody, right? What gives you authority is that genuine intention to help, right? So every single question that we're asking through the 10-step framework, think, why is it in my prospect's benefit to answer this question? How does it help them reach their goals, right? Understanding their challenge, understanding the consequences of them not taking action, right? Asking them self-solution selling, what they're looking for from a support system. How does you asking the question, self-solution selling, help them get to their goals, right? Always think like from a stance of like, if your prospect asks you, hey, like, why do you ask? Like you should be like, yeah, for sure. Well, the reason why I ask is because for me to properly help you here, I want to understand like kind of what you feel like you would need when it comes to a support system. So walk me through that. Like, what are you thinking in terms of like coaching, mentorship? What would you want to see from like the perfect system for you to go and see results, right? If your prospect ever asks you, why do you ask that question, you should know exactly why you're asking it and how it helps your prospects see success. Major point right there. Again, that's something that I learned from like annoying prospects who are like, have a little bit of an ego to them. They're a little bit resistant to the sales process. I'm trying to dig deeper for pain points. It's like, hey, well, like the reason why I ask is like, if we're going to do this, typically people, they want to get into these businesses for a reason. And from what I've seen, the people who go and see the most results, like they have a really clear, defined reason for why they're looking to build the business in the first place, right? Have you put some thought into like why you're even doing this? Right? I know exactly why I'm asking that question, because in the past, someone would ask me like, oh, why do you ask? And I'm just asking them those questions because I'm trying to sell them. And I'm just like, oh, well, and then I just like stumble and then lose all control, lose the sale, and then it just gets messy, right? Understand why you're asking every single question. And then, yeah, respond to questions with questions. Maintain authority. Make sure you keep it for the most part, and you'll be good. Cool. Now we're going to talk about disqualifying, okay? Now we're going to talk about disqualifying. The way I see it, honestly, and like even back to the original intention, right? Being 100% certain that your prospect will see results before you offer them your program. You're really, the entire call, what you're doing essentially is you're disqualifying until they prove you otherwise, right? So rather than coming in, it's like innocent until proven guilty, right? Disqualified until proven qualified. That's a good one. I like that. Right? Most salespeople, it's qualified until proven disqualified. Right? Most salespeople will just like pitch everybody. Right? You don't want to be pitching everybody. I mean, if you're just starting out on an offer, I would tell you to pitch everybody just to get more like time under your belt. But like generally speaking, you shouldn't be pitching your program to everybody, because not everybody is totally qualified for whatever it is that you're offering, right? So disqualifying it. What are some reasons why we would disqualify a prospect?
Or time efficiency, like so you're not wasting your time on a lead that wouldn't even be able to purchase your product.
Okay,
just from like a logistical standpoint.
So what do you mean by wouldn't be able to? Like exactly.
Say they just, I don't know, I guess like, could be various reasons. Maybe financially they don't physically have the means of doing so.
Okay.
Like, I guess it would depend on the person, but.
That's actually like, A lot of the times, I would disqualify for other reasons before I would like financially.
Yeah, finance. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know like the specific reasons, but like yeah.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. But I would disqualify it based on other things like money. Like if someone's broke, and I'm just like, okay, listen, hey, you sound really broke. One, I don't love that because I still want to help somebody out. I still want to give someone guidance, but also because they can be a follow up, right? They can be someone who figures out how to get the cash together. They could be, I don't know, like they might get resourceful, so yeah, the money itself. Listen, if you're selling like $100,000 offer and you're talking to someone who's like homeless, then yeah, you probably would disqualify. But what I'm saying is like not in all cases. A lot of the times it's good to pitch and then set something up for later if they are a really good fit and if it does make sense for all other aspects. So qualified is ready, able, and willing, right? Raw. Ready, able, and willing, right? So let me give you guys a couple reasons to why we would disqualify somebody. These are things that I don't think we've actually talked about before. Typical stuff, right? Like basic stuff is like they can't commit the time to it, right? So like they might be ready to make the change, but they're not able to because they don't have the time to do it. Like it's literally impossible. You ask, hey, can I count on you to set aside some time throughout the week to work on this? And they're like, I don't know, maybe not. Yeah, we're disqualifying that lead, right? Let me give you some other ones. One is if they don't accept your frame, right? Like if they don't accept you as an authority and as an expert, how the hell are we going to coach this person and help this person see results if they're coming into the call and they can't be coached and they can't, be led? How are we going to lead this person to their goals if we can't lead them on the sales call? Right? So like an example is like if they hop on the call and they're just like super, give me the program. Tell me how much it costs. Tell me what's up. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not even sure if I can help you yet. Let me just ask you a couple questions. Yeah, we can skip all of that. Just tell me about the offer, right? Like if that person like they just refuse to have a conversation, we're disqualifying the lead, right? Okay, sure. I mean, hey man, like that's cool, and like I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I get it. Maybe you've hopped on some calls before, and some shitty salesperson ran you through some bullshit sales script. That's cool. But like with that said, you applied to work with us here, and like if you're opposed to having a 15-20 minute conversation before we get into everything, then we're gonna have a hard time working together on this. So maybe we should just wrap this call up right now. What do you think? Right? We're disqualifying that lead. If they don't accept you and your frame on the call, then one, you're not going to close the deal, and two, they're just going to be a nightmare client if they do close, but whatever. That's one. Two is they don't have a defined problem, right? Like they don't have a specific problem, right? So whether that is a problem with their business that they're currently running, or if it is a pain point, right? Or like actual reason as to why they want to do this, right? Now, like caveat to that is that a lot of the times is we just suck at asking questions. So it's hard for us to really figure out like what's the why, right? You might start out your call, you sound scripted, you sound weird, it doesn't really feel not natural. Prospect, their defense goes way up, and then they're afraid of telling you the real why because they think that you're trying to just sell them something, right? That's usually what happens. But let's just say that that's not the case. And there's like genuinely no reason why they want to do it. It's like, yeah, just be like, honestly, I'm good. Everything is good. I don't really have any pain. I don't really have any big goals. This would just be like a cool little side hustle, right? Like if that's where, you know, you've asked all the questions, you've dug deeper, you've understood, and like that's what you're left with, it's like, okay, well, like honestly, it doesn't seem like we can help you, right? If there's no defined problem, then we can't help them solve anything. They're not a good fit. One, they're not going to see results, and two, they're not going to buy, right? See how there's kind of like parallels here with disqualifying and everything that we spoke about earlier. One is if they think they can do it on their own. Like if you get that vibe from them, right? If they think that they don't need help, basically, right? If you get that sense from somebody, again, you're disqualifying them, right? Where you're like, hey, like, what do you think you would need from a support system? And they're like, hey, honestly, like, I don't really need much. Just give me like a course and I'll be able to go and figure it out. Okay. Yeah, and like I know you mentioned your goal is to take this thing to like, you know, 200 grand a year. Like, you know, you really want to take this thing far. Do you feel that like with just a video course, like you would have everything that you would need to get there, or do you feel like anything is missing? Oh no, I don't need any of that. I don't need anything else. I think I'll be fine. Right. Okay. And like there's really like two kinds of people that I see on these calls, right? There's one, like people who just don't think that they need any guidance and they don't think they need any help. Or it's just like, you know, they're kind of hearing mentorship and they're thinking about the investment and maybe there's like a money situation. Which one do you think you are? Right? Like I would go through it, right? Before I officially disqualify the lead, like I would figure out what's actually going on. But if somebody doesn't feel they need help, like again, like don't bend over backwards to try to convince them that they need help. You know, it's like, okay, cool. Well, and let me ask you, like if all you needed really was a video course, why are you still broke? Like there's so much there with all the content on YouTube. Like, why haven't you been able to figure it out already? Like, I'm just not understanding. What am I missing here? Right, and then that's where they're gonna get like butthurt or whatever, you know. But I'm not saying like don't say that to your leads, guys. I'm just, you know, I'm just that's my thought process. That's what I'm thinking in my head. That's not what I'm saying though. Right? But like, yeah, if someone doesn't feel like they need help, then we're not going to pitch them, right? So here's the thing, right? Is when you disqualify leads, that gives you power. You know, when you say no to people, right? That increases your value, right? There's a lot of analogies that we can make there to other things and, you know, society, right? But regardless, right? If you say yes to everything, then your yes means nothing, right? If you stand for nothing, then you'll fall for anything. You know, it's kind of somewhere on those lines. You have to be able to tell your prospects no. You have to be able to you know, have certain standards and have certain qualifiers that you just will not accept, right? Certain boundaries that you'll set, right? Like for like all of this framing stuff, right? Like super easy boundary is like, hey, I'll introduce the program and I will, you know, explain it to you once I'm 100% confident that you can see results. I'm going to do it on my time, not on yours, right? That's just like a boundary. We might be at the end of the call and like, yeah, this person's a great fit, and person's like, hey, and like, can you tell me more about the program? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, we can jump into that in a second here. Let me ask you, like, how soon are you actually looking to get started with something like this? I'll just go and ask that extra question just for the sake of keeping control of the call, right? Because I have a certain boundary. If someone doesn't have a defined problem, they don't have anything specific that they're trying to solve, I'm just not going to pitch them. I'm going to say, hey, well, like, it doesn't really seem like there's any problems here. Like, am I missing anything? Nope, you're understanding everything. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, in that case, then that doesn't really sound like we can help you. Here's what I'd recommend that you do. Go check this out and go for it, right? If someone is like not able to, if someone's like not taking the call seriously, right? That's another reason why I would disqualify somebody. Like if it's a Zoom call and like they're in the grocery store and they're like talking to people, like that's just we're rescheduling that call or we're just disqualifying. If someone doesn't put on their camera on a Zoom meeting, like that person is putting on the camera, otherwise like we're not continuing the call. Like, I don't know, like some people have done that before and it's really weird. Like some people, they're just like, they refuse to put their face on the camera for a Zoom call, and then I'll crack a joke and I'll be like, hey man, like, I know I'm handsome, but like I'd rather look at you. Let's get your camera on and we'll get this call started, right? Or like, are you just like super ugly or something, man? Or like what's going on here? Ha ha ha. Yeah, dude, just throw on your camera and we'll get this meeting started. Oh yeah, I'm actually not able to put a camera on my Zoom. Bro, like the average person has 3 devices on hand at all times with a camera that can run a Google Meet. Like, it's just like weird behavior, stuff like that. Like it's cool, whatever, like no judgment if you don't want to throw on a camera. But again, if I'm going to help somebody accomplish any type of result and they're afraid to put their camera on our first meeting, like that's a major red flag. How are we gonna work with this person one-on-one, train them X, Y, and Z if they can't even throw their camera on the first call? And 2, how am I gonna close this person for thousands of dollars if I can't even close them to turn their camera on? So like certain things like this, right? If someone's not taking the call seriously, if someone's very just like nonchalant and they don't care about it, right? That's fine. Like we don't need to like, tell somebody off. Like that's not what we're doing here. But it's like, hey man, can I just make an observation? It sounds like you're not taking this conversation like too seriously. I think what you should do is go use these resources. I don't think our program would be the best fit. Okay, cool, no worries, peace, good luck, have fun, right? Being able to disqualify people, now when you actually qualify somebody else, it means something, right? If everybody you speak to is qualified, then nobody's qualified, right? You got to be able to disqualify some people. That's going to give you strength. That's going to give you, that stance that like, yeah, you don't just pitch people just because they show up, right? Like when you say, I'm only going to offer my program to people that I'm 100% confident are going to see results. Like when you tell yourself that, like you mean that, right? Which means you have to disqualify people to actually mean what you say, right? That's all I got on authority. I'm sure there's more to it, but those are kind of the brief notes that I got down, right? Taking it, keeping it, and disqualifying. Yeah, I mean, I think we made a funny video. This is when we were like starting making content. Ask Amon about it if you guys are ever on a one-on-one. But we were just like fucking around with reels, and we were just like making like reels that we never posted just to like practice. We were in Miami, and then Amon was like, he made a reel about, I forget, you got to ask Amon about it.
People want to be told what to do. Nah, not me. Fuck you. You ain't buying my shit anyways.
It's kind of true, right? Well, not kind of true. I think it is true. What people are seeking is certainty, right? Sales is a transfer of certainty, especially in high ticket. Especially when you're dropping $10,000, $25,000, $8,000, $5,000, whatever, right? Especially when you're dropping these kinds of price tags. There needs to be a very high degree of certainty, right? Certainty that your prospect does not currently have. They're going to get that certainty from you, right? Your prospects, they deep down, subconsciously or consciously, they want to be told what to do. If I'm spending, me personally, if I'm spending 5, 10K on something and it's some kind of like info learning online course, whatever, like I want someone to tell me exactly what to do. Like I want someone to look at what I'm doing, tell me you're doing everything completely wrong. This is what you need to do. Go do it. right? Like, I don't want them to be like, oh, hey, like, I like what you're doing here. Like, it's not that bad. You know, there's a little bit of room for improvement over here. I think you should try this. No, I'm not paying $10,000 for someone to like make me feel good about myself. I'm paying $10,000 for me to get results. I want you to tell me exactly what to do, right? And if someone's going to spend serious money with you on a call, that same kind of vibe needs to be created on that conversation, right? That's really where certainty comes from, right? That's where trust comes from, I think, too, right? Is when someone's willing to be very direct with you, just cut through the bullshit and get 1,000% real, right? Guys, this is authority. I think this is definitely one to go back on. I think you guys should definitely catch the recording for it, get down some notes on it, because there was like multiple points that I made here that I could do like a full training call on, but I just kind of wanted to condense everything.